right, ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I'm going to go over how fractions, decimals, and percents can be placed on a number line. So when we're dealing with number lines, they're usually going to have different forms like percents, fractions, and decimals in which they want us to place in certain areas. So looking here, we have different boxes placed on a number line. We have to figure out which one of these goes where. Now, before you start converting everything to decimals, which you absolutely can do, I just kind of want you to think about this in a number sense kind of way. When I look at this, I see a benchmark of 50%. When we think of 50%, we think of half. So notice here's 0, here's 1, and the halfway mark would be right here. So this one would be considered 50%. So there we already have one of these checked off. We didn't have to convert or anything like that. Looking here, the next thing that I notice is this 2/3. This 2/3 should also be one of your benchmarks. 1/3 is 0.333. It goes on and on. If you had 2/3, then it would be 0.66666, and it's going on. So when I think of 0.666, I'm thinking of that as more than a half. Okay, more than a half, but it is closer to the halfway mark. So when I look here, with 2/3, I'm thinking that it's going to be closer to the 50% mark than it is more towards the 1. So for here, I'm going to put 2/3. That's now checked. Now we have two more left. We have 971 thousandths, and then we have 15.75%. I want you to look at this percentage. Think about a test grade. Let's say you got a 15.7%, or if you want to round, let's say we got 16%. That would be a very, very low score, almost as if you didn't try at all. So for this one, it wouldn't be closer to the 1, which is representing 100%. It would be closer to the 0. So we're going to put that 15.7% over here. Now the last one is this 971 thousandths. Looking at that one, again, you can move the decimal 2 times to the right to look at it as a percentage, or you can just think about it. If you notice this 0.9, that's extremely close to 1. So that's going to end up going right here. Now, if you wanted to convert all of these to decimals, you most certainly could have. 50% would have been 0.5, 2/3 would have been 0.6 with repeating. 0.971 is already in decimal form. 15.7 is not in decimal form. It is a percentage, so you still need to move the decimal 2 times to the left, giving you 0.157. So you could look at it that way and then convert if looking at decimals is a little bit easier for you. Looking at this last part, it wants us to do the same thing. So I'm looking here. I notice we've got some more extra whole numbers. So we've got 0, 1, and 2. So if I'm thinking about it percentage-wise, this would be like 0%. The 1 would be like 100%, and the 2 would be like 200%. So looking here, when this says 260%, I don't see any other percentages that would be higher than 200%. So that 260% is going to go here in this spot. Okay, so we've taken care of that. Now, I'm going to skip this one for a moment, even though it seems extremely small. Actually, you know what? Let's take a look at it. It's 0.122. If you think of just 0.1, that's really teeny tiny. So that's probably going to be really close to 0. Notice there's no whole number in front. So when I look over here between 0 and 1, there's only one space that's available for that. So this would actually be 0.122. Now we just have 2 more. Now they both fall between 1 and 2 holes. So we're going to have to think about things a little bit more. When we see this 1 and 4/5, 4/5 is like a benchmark. So that would be like 1.8. So 1.33 would be smaller than 1.8. This 1.8 is going to be closer to that 2. So I'm going to put the 1 and 4/5. And if you notice that 4 is so close to 5, that means it's so close to almost being a whole. And we would have 1 whole, another whole, which makes 2. And then this 1 and 33/100ths would end up going over here. So this is the order. Now, again, you could definitely go ahead and put them in decimal form if you wanted to. You would have 2.6. That's already in decimal form. And I went ahead and did those. And you could figure it out that way as well.